During a spiritual journey, you may experience a familiar crossroads where you feel uncertain and lost again. Unsettling as it may be, this feeling frequently signals the start of a fresh cycle of awakening. It's a time when previously discovered paths become less clear and new, unexplored territory appears. Remember your past spiritual awakenings. They were probably all brought on by a big life event, such as a heartbreaking moment, a personal struggle, or an epiphany. These times served as a means for your soul to help you gain a better comprehension of who you are and how you relate to the rest of creation. These were important stages in your spiritual journey, even though they usually lasted a few years and were painful as well as joyful. It's critical to interpret your current sense of disorientation as a sign of approaching change rather than as a setback. This is similar to being at the beginning of a new day, where the night is at its darkest right before daybreak. Feeling directionless, like you're lost in a surreal maze, is the universe urging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into a new stage of development. There are several possible forms for this new awakening. You may experience an inspiration surge that motivates you to take on soul-stirring projects. This could be expressed through writing, drawing, or doing other creative endeavors that allow you to communicate your deepest emotions. On the other hand, this stage could be more reflective and result in deep insights regarding your spiritual beliefs or life's purpose. It's important to embrace the unknown at this time. Use this time to delve into novel concepts, philosophies, and practices, just like a traveler exploring uncharted terrain. These are deliberate steps toward finding your new path, whether it's through reading, making connections with people who are on similar paths, or spending time in nature. In this uncertain period, faith, whether in oneself, in the universe, or in a higher power, becomes a beacon. Faith reassures you that this stage of ignorance is both transitory and essential to your spiritual development, along with patience. Always keep in mind that every action you take towards self-realization and spiritual fulfillment, no matter how tiny, contributes to your journey during this new age of awakening. Being lost is a promise of renewal and an invitation to start a new chapter in your spiritual journey, not a barrier. Essentially, a deep sense of being lost is often the first indication of a new awakening cycle. This indicates that a new stage of your spiritual development is about to begin. Let this time lead you to a greater comprehension of and connection with the universe, if you embrace it with an open heart and mind. Every moment of doubt is a step toward a new dawn of enlightenment in the vast landscape of your spiritual journey. Now let's get back to the main topic of our conversation for today: making your way through the shadows, which is the lead-up to awakening. A period that may seem like a plunge into the unknown arrives. In actuality, this stage, which is frequently characterized by severe emotional upheaval, perplexity, and a sense of being lost, is an essential component of your spiritual development. The difficulties of life seem insurmountable during this time, and your faith in God seems to be eroding. But rather than a sign of desertion, this dark period is a prelude to a big change. Think back to the pre-masculineal periods of your life. These are often marked by emotions of emptiness, melancholy, and sometimes even self-anger. There's a stage when you feel like your prayers are not heard, and life seems to be pushing you back despite your best efforts. This can cause you to doubt your path and your faith. It's like hitting rock bottom. It can be quite overwhelming to experience this abrupt change from a graceful state to one of failure. It could feel as though you've been abandoned, alone and defenseless, during a difficult time. Feelings of worthlessness cloud the calling to pursue your passion, such as writing a book, and make it seem like an impossible task. Such events frequently set off what's called a dark night of the soul, a period of intense self-examination and facing one's deepest fears and limitations. It's a period when you have to confront and deal with your scars, which may have been preventing you from moving forward for years. These wounds include abandonment. It is similar to weathering a storm after a time of calm to get through this dark. Although difficult and frequently painful, it fulfills an essential function. These are the depths where great growth opportunities can be found. Though it can be difficult, healing and integration of the shadow sides of yourself start with the introspection and inner work process. A moment of profound clarity may occur in this darkness. A voice from within may reveal itself, indicating that it's time to rise and turn your obstacles into strengths. At this point, you come to understand that there is only one direction left from the bottom, upward, towards the light. This stage of navigating through the dark is about personal development and self-discovery, not just about enduring hardship. This is the time to do the necessary work of facing and mending your innermost wounds and fears. It gets you ready to face the next chapter of your spiritual journey stronger, more enlightened, and ready. To attain new levels of spiritual enlightenment, one must first navigate the darkness. It is a journey that develops introspection, teaches resilience, and eventually results in a rekindled sense of purpose and a closer relationship with God. Always keep in mind that every moment of darkness on your spiritual journey is a step toward a brighter dawn. 3. A fresh strengthening cycle. A new cycle of awakening is often heralded by a transformational moment. This shift is marked by a subtle but potent emergence of inner strength rather than an aggressive outburst of energy. It's a period when one transitions from the exhausted and dejected state to one of redoubled resolve and fortitude. In this kind of cycle, the emphasis moves from outside events to an inner awakening. Developing well-being, establishing priorities, and taking care of oneself are the main focus during this introspective time. It is about discovering an inner strength that is quiet and resilient and just needs to be recognized and welcomed. This is not like any other sense of empowerment. It facilitates the healing of old wounds and the release of past pains. There is a deliberate choice to move forward, using the lessons learned from the past to guide a better future, rather than letting bad experiences or influences hold you back. Eliminating lingering doubts and fears from the mind is part of the process. A new perspective where one is empowered rather than defined by past adversities is unlocked by this mental shift, akin to turning a key. From this point on, the journey will be characterized by focus and clarity, as well as a strong sense of purpose and a strong will to attain one's objectives. Once seemingly insurmountable hurdles, challenges and setbacks are now seen as chances for development. They are now catalysts for learning and personal growth rather than obstacles. With its hardships behind it, the past no longer feels like a burden, but rather a source of knowledge and fortitude. Although empowering, this state of being is also based in reality. It is acknowledged that this does not make one impervious to the difficulties of life. Rather, what alters is how these difficulties are faced. That is, with resilience and without hesitation or shame. The story shifts from one of struggle to one of empowerment in this new cycle of awakening. This is the time when self-awareness and inner strength are acknowledged. During this period, one comes to understand that despite possibly being full of unknowns, the path ahead is illuminated by the light of renewed strength and inner wisdom. 4th, the wave of heightened feelings. This phenomenon indicates heightened sensitivity to life's subtleties and energies, as evidenced by a profound deepening of emotional experiences. You might experience a range of emotions as you go through this phase, from intense feelings of joy and empathy to more focused ones like sadness or frustration. Recognizing and welcoming the start of a new cycle of spiritual awakening requires an understanding of and ability to navigate through these heightened emotions. Emotions that were once subdued or manageable may suddenly feel amplified, causing a startling surge in emotional intensity. Happiness can seem more meaningful and profound when it is accompanied by a deeper level of joy. In a similar vein, empathy may rise and one becomes more connected to the thoughts, feelings, and circumstances of others. This increased empathy broadens your understanding of the human condition and strengthens relationships. On the other hand, heightened emotional sensitivity may also result in a more intense experience of negative emotions. Anger and sadness may seem more intense and difficult to deal with. Although it may seem overwhelming, this intensity is a sign of developing spiritual depth and emotional maturity rather than a setback. It denotes a growing consciousness and a closer relationship with both your inner self and the outside world. Remembering previous awakening cycles can be beneficial as you navigate these stronger feelings. Your present emotional landscape has probably been influenced by each cycle. Your emotional sensitivity and responses have been shaped by the happiness, suffering, loss, and discovery of the past. Perhaps these current emotions are just the echoes of these previous cycles coming to the surface as you move into a new stage of your spiritual development.